Hey there, my name's Tracy from Randomness of Rudy, and this is the last video in our Aries Experience series on Aries and Pisces compatibility. If you haven't seen the first video where I go a little bit more in depth on what it's like to date Aries the Ram, please go back and check that video out. Aries and Pisces is a very tricky match, and it might seem almost comical. I hate to use that word. You'll have to pardon my sarcasm, but to watch these two get off the ground as far as a relationship goes could probably stand to be somewhat of a sitcom. You know, Aries and Pisces are two signs of two elements that don't necessarily work well together. Aries is a fire sign, Pisces is a water sign, and if you look at the elements alone, they don't work well together. They don't match. That's not to say that this relationship couldn't last. But it is to say that it's a relationship that requires some work, and really primarily because both signs operate on very different levels. Aries as a fire sign is action-oriented, a very decisive energy, a very, assertive energy, and really doesn't have time to kind of sit back and wallow and contemplate and get lost in thought or daydreams or spirit or intuitions. Aries just wants to go. Of course, Aries is intuitive, but doesn't pay much attention to his or her intuition as much as Pisces does. Pisces is a water sign. Pisces is a very spiritual energy, and Pisces is a very abstract energy. And that kind of starts the disconnect between these two signs, and that, Pisces is a feeling energy and really moves through life interpreting spirit, intuiting spirit, and really trying to understand life in ways that are very abstract and otherworldly, and somewhat vague and foggy. And Aries just doesn't have the patience for it. Aries will try to understand this about Pisces, but Aries is just too quick to get something going and to be in motion, that it can be very difficult for this sign to kind of sit back and wait for Pisces to catch up. Okay, so that's where the differences are. That's the core disconnect between you. And if you can accept this about each other, then this can be a really caring and nurturing relationship. Aries will automatically feel very protective of Pisces because Pisces is very sensitive. And meanwhile, Pisces will have a very deeper understanding of Aries and how Aries operates, and so will be more forgiving than most people when it comes to other zodiac signs paired with Aries. And Aries will appreciate this. So if you can get kind of past that initial confusion between you in terms of your temperaments, this can really be a really beautiful match. As far as sexual compatibility, there's nothing to say that the sex between these two signs wouldn't be compatible, but again, it's probably a match that would require adjustments. Aries is again fiery, action-oriented, and tends to be concerned with the main event, whereas Pisces really needs to feel his or her way through the act of lovemaking. And so again, this requires patience from Aries. And if Aries can find that patience and slow himself down or herself down and really kind of allow the experience itself to kind of take over, this could be a beautiful union in the bedroom as well. With regards to your arguments, with regards to your disagreements, they will stem from Aries' lack of patience and from Pisces' need to interpret feeling. And again, if you can understand this about each other and accept these differences, your fights, your arguments may not be so difficult. However, when you fail to accept these things about each other, Aries can come off as extremely brash, which will, of course, hurt Pisces deeply. And Pisces will retreat. Pisces will kind of zone out and go to his or her own imagination in order to block out the negativity from Aries. So things to be mindful of course. Like any relationship between any two zodiac signs, there's always your positives and there are always your negatives. And if you two can learn to kind of navigate the negatives toward better understanding, as I said before, this can be a really caring and tender match. If you would like more information, feel free to visit randomnessofrudy.com. Until next time, good luck.